Hey guys, I've been asked by Casarooney1 to do a little video on how I keep my slings, so this is what it is. Okay, I have 4 slings at the moment. Some pair so many here. You won't be able to see it because it's hidden away. But you can see the little wooden hide I've got in there. That's where it tends to hang out all the time. I have my Grammostola pulchra, which you can see there, my Brazilian black. I have my Mexican redney, which you probably won't be able to see because this thing is absolutely tiny. You can just see it, yeah, just see it. It's not focusing very well, but yeah, tiny little thing. Doesn't ever seem to grow that much. It's very, very slow in growing. And finally, I have my Avicularia amazonica. I did have a video of this where I moved it into an enclosure about that size, but I've moved it back into this little vial due to the fact that it wasn't eating, which I put down to the fact that it felt insecure because it was the enclosure was far too big for it. So I moved it back into this and it's feeding fine now. Okay, where to start? Let's start with the enclosures. For slings you tend to want fairly small enclosures, as you can see I've got here. For arboreals you want tall vials. Obviously height is more important than floor space, so that sort of thing's perfect there. You only need a small amount of substrate. In this it goes up to about there, so it's less than a centimetre worth of substrate. I've got a small bark hide in there. You can't see because it's webbed up completely on the hide. Whereas for my terrestrials, like my redney, as you can see I've got a little bit of wood there, a very small layer of substrate. You can also see a small locust in there that's not eaten yet. And the same goes for my pulchra with the hide. You can see there, it's got the bit of bark hide there. Because the Grammostola and the Brachypelma are they prefer fairly dry conditions. They don't need to be too humid, which is quite nice. What I do for humidity when I feel like I need to spray them, I tend to spray the lids because I feel personally that way you're not disturbing the tarantula so much. Whereas if you were to spray directly on top, I've had my amazonica run out really quickly on me and I nearly lost it a couple of times, so I find this way works out a lot better. So I tend to spray the lids, like I said. I feed them twice a week, one small locust 2 times a week. This one sometimes doesn't eat it, so I check it every day, and if it hasn't eaten it then I take it out. Also for my small redney I take the jumping legs off of the locusts because it's easier for the spider to catch it. I think if I had more of them I'd probably have a culture of bean weevils because they're more practical for small tarantulas like this. For my pulchra tends to eat fairly readily on the locust. It doesn't seem to have any problem. Neither does my amazonica actually, or my summer. You can see here I've got these green bits of sponge in here. That's because basically before I got the spider I thought it was going to be bigger than it actually was, and I'd made these bigger ventilation holes in it, and it turned out they were too big, so I blocked them up until the tarantula is too large to be able to get out. While we're talking about ventilation, as you can see, you can't really see too clearly because the holes are so small, but I've literally just taken a pin and I've just pricked, in this one I've pricked 3 holes in the top. For this one, this is the container I bought it in, and there's 4 holes around the edge, very small holes, and a load of holes in the lid. For my avicularia, I've got plenty of holes in the lid, as you can see there, and I've also got a few holes around the side because you want, especially for avicularias, you want cross ventilation, and you want a lot of ventilation and a lot of humidity. And for my Minia, I've got a load of ventilation down there. I've got some coming across the top there, and I've got some in the lid. I don't know why, but I've heard that sound paces, they are more successful when you've got ventilation coming from the top, from the bottom and the top. I don't know why that is, but apparently it works. So that's what I've done, and I've had no problems whatsoever. Don't really know what else to say about them. I think that's about it, really. You can see this one's webbed up quite a lot in there. But yeah, I've not had any problems with mine so far. If you have avicularias, then it's quite common for them just to sort of drop down dead for no particular reason. They're very, very fragile up until about the 6th instar. My Amazonica's 3rd or 4th instar, I believe. I could be a little bit wrong, but I think it's 3rd or 4th instar. But yeah, you know, you can be seeming to do everything correctly, and then for some unknown reason it'll just drop down dead. So if that happens, you know, you may have done everything correctly, but it may die, and you can't really blame yourself for that. That's just the way it is sometimes, especially when they're this small, looking very fragile little things. So yeah, that's how I keep my slings. I also keep them in a little tank over here. As you can see, it's a cricket keeper. I have a heat mat on the side here, which is rigged up to a thermostat, which I've set to about 30 degrees. Actually, there it's set a bit lower. I need to turn that up. This time of year, you don't really need to worry about it because it's not too cold. But when winter kicks in, you ideally want to be having a thermostat and a heat mat. I think ideally you wouldn't use a heat mat. Pardon me, you wouldn't use a heat mat at all. But if you're in a situation like I am, where I can't afford to keep the house heated all the time, then heat mats are the next best thing, really. On a side note, my versicolor molted last night at about midnight. So look out for my video where I'm going to rehouse my versicolor and my green bottle blue. That should probably be in about a week, maybe 2 weeks, when the versicolor's sort of hardened up properly. So yeah, cheers guys.